morning. So let's start with a quick question. How many of you have ever felt hurt because someone didn't text you back, or maybe they unfollowed you, or said something mean about you, right? That's probably most of us. We've probably all experienced this at one point. But here's my real question. When that happened, how long did it take you, or how long did you think about it? An hour, a day, a week? Um, you know, here's what's really, crazy about this. That person, they probably forgot about it in about, half a second, less than 5 minutes at least. But you, me, we probably replayed it over and over again in our mind. And, we made it mean something about ourselves, right? They don't like me is a phrase that we use a lot. They don't like me, I'm not good enough, something's wrong with me. And every time that we do that, we give our power away. I'm Maria Savio. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and life coach. And my job is helping people get unstuck fast. And the number one thing that keeps people stuck is actually taking things personally.
Absolutely. I'm Lourdes Leeper, a life coach and mindfulness teacher. And today we're going to show you how to stop taking things personally. Because when you stop taking things personally, you take your power back, and that changes everything. So let's talk about what happens when you when you take things personally, which I mean, most of us do. I know I do this. What about you, Maria?
You know, um, Luckily I do it a lot less, but I remember when I used to do it a lot, and it would take days. And I don't know if you have, but sometimes I would have sleepless nights, especially when it came to some work project that I had gotten negative feedback on. And I had those, negative thoughts. And of course, I made it all about myself. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In every area of my life, have I taken things personally, made it, went into a story, felt bad about it, replayed the scenario over and over again. And so this is something that I think most of us deal with, this tendency to take other people's behavior, their response personally. Let's give you an example. Your friend doesn't invite you to hang out, and your brain immediately goes to, they don't like me anymore. I did something wrong. I'm being left out. Or maybe your teacher gives you a bad grade and you think, oh, they think I'm stupid. I'll never be good at this. Or maybe your boss criticizes your work and your brain goes to the thought, they think I'm lazy. They're disappointed in me. I'll never get that promotion. Or maybe, someone unfollows you on Instagram. And again, your thoughts go to, I'm not cool enough. Nobody likes me. And in all of these scenarios, in every single case, you're making someone else's action mean something about you. But here's the truth. Other people's actions are about them, not you. And this sounds really simple, but it's not easy. And I don't want to gloss over it or make it seem like it isn't challenging, because it is. And not taking things personally is a practice. So, in a scenario where your friend didn't invite you, maybe they're dealing with family stuff. Maybe they could only invite 3 people. Maybe they forgot. It's it likely has nothing to do with you or your worth. And that's where your mind is going to, right? If you're in a scenario where a teacher gave you a bad grade, maybe you didn't answer to the rubric, or maybe they're having a terrible day and kind of graded harshly, or maybe you need to actually study more. None of this means that you are stupid. And in the case with your boss, with them criticizing your work, Maybe they're stressed out about something else. Maybe they're worried about their responsibilities and demands. They have their own stuff going on. And when you take things personally, you make yourself the victim of everyone else's behavior. You give them control over how you feel. You basically hand over your power. And here's what the Stoics figured out 2,000 years ago: you don't have to do that.
Can you imagine? We've known for over 2,000 years, but nobody told us. But we're going to tell you today. You know, it's the foundation of everything. It's called the dichotomy of control, and it's going to change how you see the world and really how you gain your power. So everything falls into two categories: the things that you can control and influence, and the things that you can't control at all, right? So let me give you a couple of scenarios. When someone thinks about you, can you control that? No. What someone says about you, can you control that? No. Whether someone texts you back, can't control it. Whether someone likes your post or maybe even dislikes your post, or if your teacher gives you a bad grade, or your boss delivers some feedback that may sound negative, how he delivers it, can you control that? No, we can't control any of those things. And it's not about us. We can't control any of them. So when you take those things personally, when you let them define how you feel about yourself, you're giving your power to things you have zero control over.
Absolutely. But here's what you can control: how you interpret what happens, how you respond, what you choose to believe about yourself, where you put your energy, your effort, your attitude, your judgments, and your choices. So when someone doesn't text you back, you have two choices. You
Mhm.
can take it personally and make it mean you're not important and spend 3 hours obsessing and giving away your power. But another choice is to not take it personally, recognize they're busy or forgot or dealing with their own stuff. You can move on, keep your power. It's the same event with two totally different outcomes. And the difference is whether you take it personally or not. And so here's the truth: most people, um, most things people do have nothing to do with you. They're thinking about themselves, their own problems, their own stress, their own insecurities. And when you stop taking things personally, you stop being a victim of everyone else's chaos. You take control of your own life. And I think this is something that should be taught to 3-year-olds, because the sooner we understand this and put it into practice, the less we suffer, the less we create meaning and story around these events. And most importantly, we don't give our power away.
I like that you said that we should be taught this at, 3 years old. And honestly, I think that the sooner we're taught this, the better off that we are. And, it if I had known this, like I constantly say this when I read Stoicism, or I even hear it from people when I talk to them about Stoicism. It's like, wow, why didn't anyone really tell me more about this? Why didn't I know this? It's like we don't have a class even at the university level that teaches us how to be resilient and how to lessen our suffering through some practices. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If I had known this back in the third grade, it completely would have changed my whole trajectory in terms of, negative circumstances that actually really impacted the meaning that I gave to what happened
Mhm.
and my perception of myself. So yeah, I think the earlier this gets taught, the better, because so often. And even as a parent, I can't tell you the number of times when I got it wrong because I was going through something and it negatively impacted my daughters, right?
Mhm.
The way that I was showing up for them was not because of anything that they did, but because of what I was going through that had absolutely nothing to do with them. And so, yeah, I think this is really impactful, and the more people that know about it, the better.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I think, one, we would eliminate a lot of embarrassing moments from our past, and we would also gain back, we would have gained back a ton of hours that we stayed up at night reflecting on, you know, whatever went wrong that we attributed to ourselves and our self-worth, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, 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 no.
Yeah, okay. 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 So, so how do you actually do this, right? How do you stop taking things so personally? How do you really empower yourself? And the very first step that we have to take, and in order to really empower ourselves, is separate the event from the story that we've actually just made up. And some prime examples are, if your friend does walk past you, or a colleague just walks right past you in the hallway, at Target, or wherever it may be, and they don't say hello, or they don't say hi to you, they don't recognize you, immediately we start telling ourselves, they must be mad at me. They're ignoring me. I did something wrong, or any variation of that storyline. That's the first thing that we do. And what we need to do is pause. We need to start thinking about other possibilities right away. So instead, we stop. What's the actual fact? The fact is, they walked past you and didn't say hi, and that's it. That's the only fact that we can really hang our hat on, right? Everything else, they're mad, they're ignoring me. That's the story we've created in our mind. And that story, it's about, it's about you, it's about us, it's about me. We made it personal. We do this, we do it constantly because it's part of the way we're wired, because it gives us the illusion of control. There is, you know, there's that illusion gives us the possibility that we can do something about it, and we've gained control now to do something.
Mm, yeah, but I mean, the truth is, the fact in that scenario is that they didn't see you. And so it's like, well, maybe they were late for a meeting. Maybe they were thinking about a report or a presentation. Maybe they were upset about something. There could be a million reasons why they didn't see you. And like, sometimes I don't see people because I'm not wearing my glasses. And so it's like, if I pass you on the street and I don't recognize you, it might be that I'm not wearing my glasses. So it's like, we're giving it meaning beyond the facts that are available in that moment. And usually that only presents a detriment to ourselves. So it's important to remember that none of those things have anything to do with you. But when you take it personally, you make it about you and you suffer for no reason. I want to introduce another example. Let's say someone posts a group photo and you're not in it. You were at the event, but you're not in the picture. So what's the fact? They posted a photo, I'm not in it. What's the story? They don't like me anymore, they're excluding me, I'm not a part of the group. Your brain immediately jumps to making it about you. But here's your new habit. When something happens, ask yourself, is this actually about me, or is this about them? 99% of the time, it's about them.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's such a ridiculous thing, but everyone is the main character of their own story. And that's the real hook. Again, everyone is the main character of their own story. That means that we're extras in somebody else's, theater or stage. And, how you're constantly thinking about yourself, your problems, your stress, your insecurities, what people think of you. Guess what? Everyone else is doing the exact same thing. Your friend who didn't text you back, they're not sitting around thinking about you. They're thinking about their own drama, everything that's going on in their lives. And the person who unfollowed you, they're not plotting against you. They're, maybe just curating their own, feed, the stuff that they want to see the most. And, frankly, you know, I've done it as well. I've personally stopped following people that post inaccurate information. And, it's those people that they post and they haven't fact checked it. They don't know how to fact check it. So unfortunately I had to unfollow them. Sorry. If you're
Yeah.
wondering why I didn't comment, it's because of that. But, your teacher who gave you the bad grade, they're not targeting you. They're probably grading 150 papers and trying to get home to their own life and their kids, their whole, their family. And when you realize that most people are too busy thinking about themselves to be thinking about you, it's actually kind of freeing. It's liberating because you stop taking everything personally because you realize it's not personal at all. It never was. Everyone is living their own life center stage.
Mm. Yeah. And so, an important question to ask yourself is, am I giving my power away right now? Every time you take something personally, you hand your power over to someone else. You let them control how you feel. If someone says something mean, and if you take it personally, they're in control. They get to decide if you have a good day or a bad day. If someone doesn't include you and you take it personally, again, you're giving them power over your self worth. But when you don't take it personally, you keep your power, you stay in control, you decide how you feel. And that's what this is really about, not letting other people, their opinions, their actions, their chaos control your inner peace. You get to decide what you believe about yourself, not them, you.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So, uh, we know we need to stop taking things personally, but how do you train your brain to actually do that? And the Stoics, they call this training your perceptions. We call it, catching yourself in the act or being present or even learning how to pivot. So let's say your boss says you need to try harder. You need to increase, your production and improve your performance. The old you, the way you've been trained to respond is that the habit of taking it personally. And so you might think again, they think I'm a failure, they're disappointed in me, I'm not good enough. But if you're able to pivot your perception, if you're able to pause, your new response, you won't take it personally. When you shift that perception, you think they're giving me feedback because they want me to succeed. They're concerned, or this is about their expectations, not my worth. You can even think the company's numbers are down and they're asking for help. So the direction of your thought goes somewhere else where you can actually start doing what you need to do. And when, another example is if when someone talks behind your back, again, the old response might have been, everyone hates me, I'm a terrible person, I did something wrong, there's something wrong with me, and the list goes on. But the new response, again, not taking it personally, is maybe it's about them. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're trying to feel better about themselves. And this says, you start to think this says more about them than it does about me. It says more about their character. And it also shows you what they value. So if you could see the pivot there, you can see the shift. You're not denying reality. You're just refusing to make it about yourself.
Yeah, and I volunteer with the Be a Friend project. It's a not-for-profit. They raise money and awareness about bullying, and this ties in so neatly, I think, to being able to pivot and shift your perspective. Usually, bullies are suffering themselves and trying to make themselves feel better about themselves at someone else's expense. And so knowing that their behavior is about them really allows the person being bullied, the target of their malice, to suffer less, because they can be aware that it's not about them. You're not criticizing my appearance because there's something wrong with me. You're just trying to make yourself feel better. It just made me think about that very clearly, about how important this skill is, and the different scenarios where one might use this knowledge to their advantage. But let's try a different scenario. Let's say you post something and get 0 likes. And if you take it personally, you'll think, oh, nobody cares about me. I'm boring. I'm irrelevant. If you don't take it personally, you'll realize people are busy. The algorithm is weird, and likes don't measure my worth. So your new mantra is, not everything is about me. And that's a good thing. Because when you stop making everything about you, you stop suffering over things that don't matter. So if you're not going to base your self-worth on what other people think, what do you base it on? The Stoics had an answer: the 4 cardinal virtues. And these are the only things that actually matter, the only things that truly define your character. Wisdom, seeing things clearly, not getting swept up in drama or taking things personally. Justice, treating people fairly, even when they don't treat you fairly, and not retaliating when someone hurts you. Courage, standing up for yourself and others, even when it's hard, and not letting fear of judgment control you. And temperance, self-control, discipline, moderation, not lashing out when someone criticizes you, and responding calmly instead of reacting with emotion.
Yeah, and I want to just say, these virtues, they're not designed so that you have no emotion. They're designed so that you understand that your first response might be emotional, but then you need to engage reason before you do anything. We're not going to suppress your emotions. You're gonna still have them. This isn't about suppressing. And when you live by these virtues, you build a life based on your character, not other people's opinions. And you stop asking, do they like me? And you start asking, am I being wise, just, courageous? And am I using moderation, reason, and self-control? That's the real power. That's real confidence. And when you have that, nobody can take that away from you. That is, yours all the way. And this is really how you empower yourself, when you can stand in and know who you are, what your virtues are, what your character is, and your own integrity. So this week, we want to just challenge you to first, catch yourself taking something personally. When you feel hurt or rejected or offended, pause when these emotions come up and ask yourself, am I making this about me? Or is this about them? Or is it about the circumstances? Basically, does it have anything to do with me at all? Right? And then practice the mantra. When something happens, say to yourself, not everything is about me. And that's a good thing. And then reclaim your power. Every time you choose not to take something personally, you take your power back. You know, you take those nights back where you're no longer contemplating, do they like me or they don't like me? You take those hours back. And notice how that makes you feel. Notice how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying everyone else's stuff. This is a practice. You're not going to be perfect. You know, it's going to take a little time, but you'll still take things personally sometimes, and that's okay. Just notice, just start by noticing and choose differently next time. And sometimes you won't catch yourself in that moment. So even if you catch yourself later, you're still implanting that seed of stop and pause. The idea is to really start. And every time you do, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get freer, and you're going to get more in control of your own life.
Yeah. So here's what we want you to remember. You're not responsible for other people's opinions, actions, or words. You are only responsible for your response. When you stop taking things personally, you stop being a victim. You stop giving your power away. You start living on your own terms. The unfollows, the gossip, the criticism, the rejection, none of that defines you. Your character, your effort, your integrity, your courage, they define you.
Yeah, so the Stoics, they figured it out 2,000 years ago, and it's still true today. The only opinion that matters is the one you have of yourself. So stop letting other people write your story. Stop taking things personally. Take your power back. You've got this. You're stronger than you think, and you don't need anyone's approval to know your worth. Now, go show the world and, show them what you're made of.